Okay. When I struggle to deal with something, to dig deep in my soul, I find it easier to talk about it in my sonnets. It kind of heals this dark hole. Recently, I noticed I really clammed up in a conversation, and it was strange because it was something that I can now identify with, because I'd been through it and I'd been in it, and it was a life I did live. And I kind of touched upon it lightly in a sonnet a few years ago, but even in counselling, I've never talked about it, and why, I don't know. My friend recently said, Sally, maybe we don't always need to find out the why. So perhaps I'm just going to do some venting, and it'll help me think about that life they try to deny. And maybe I'm ashamed that I allowed someone to treat me this way, because I was infatuated, I was mad in love. I ignored the things that kept me awake at night as they lay. Control. You know, even that word still makes me sad, because you don't realise things chip away at you. They make you feel bad. You wonder why you're always saying sorry first, because you know deep down it's not your fault. And that feeling is the worst. That consistent fear of, what have I done wrong? Because he's not speaking again, and your mind races. You're retracing the emotions, the how, why and when. Because you know it's going to be something small. Like you hula hooped in the front garden, and apparently that's flirting with the builders who can't see you in the back garden. I'm sorry, pardon. Which led to a huge banging of doors, punching cupboards. I even said, do you need to hit me? Because I'm confused by this overreaction, like who is he? But I'd recognised this behaviour before, because a fella had smashed up my front room. Yeah. And sorry, it's not my front room. It was my best friend's house at the time. He went mental with a broom. And when I say mental, he broke my kitchen doors. There was blood on the walls. I came down to see the place a mess, and he was pissed on the sofa with a phone full of strangers' missed calls. I had to pay to replace them. I had to get his dad to get me a door fitter. And I never told him the truth, like, your son's a dick, because I didn't want to sound bitter. And this was all over because I'd said that night, I don't think this is working with me, because he'd gone out with his pals and turned up at mine at 3 a.m. in a taxi, and I had to pay the fee. He whistled me at me on the phone once in front of his work pals, like I was a dog, to pick them up, to take them into town, and when I asked could I go with them, he said nope. I was touring away, and I remember one Sunday night, he said, you should stay here with me because this isn't right. And I went away feeling and looking like shit. And the lads asked me how I was, and I was too embarrassed to say what had happened. I felt weak, because why was I letting someone treat me like that? But I did leave him, and I didn't give him any reasons why. But my nan said, enough is enough. Leave his belongings on the door and don't you dare let him see you cry. But here I was, years later, in a worse situation, because I now lived with this guy. But at first he blew me away. I was so high on love. I felt I could fly. He couldn't believe I'd been treated, I'd been cheated, how I was even on my own. I was beautiful, he adored me. He took me to Whitby on my first date. He always answered his phone. He brought flowers, he came to shows. He made me feel great. Someone I could rely on for once. I didn't see the decline in my own fate, because early on it wasn't right. He hated the closeness with my mum and dad. He said it was pathetic. I was like a child. He was family now. And I did think, what's up with this lad? But he was so romantic, I've forgotten. He drew me pictures of a rainbow. He'd cut it in pieces and hidden it in the house and the gym and in the post. And how did I know? But it was too fast. Looking back, it was too intense, it was too quick. Things started to unravel and I felt numb, and he was so clever, I felt thick. I was confused by love. You think that they care, they don't like the way your clothes are, they're too tight, your belly's bare. And why do you always seem to get on better with men? I suppose it's like me with women. I mean, I have been sexually active since I've been 10. And you know that girl at the gym? She was looking at my shorts. I could tell because she smiled. Why are you getting agitated? It's only you that make me wild. But I did like her tight clothes and the shape of her ass. Now don't check my phone. Don't be a paranoid lass. It's exhausting. Your confidence is knocked, and I pathetically repeated, am I enough for you? I'm here, aren't I? Why are you being so dramatic? You're worse than Lil, and she's 2. I'm having someone massage me in our own home. You know, the one that I think's hot, but you're working away, so you're cool, right? We're alone. And I've also added that girl on Facebook, you know, the one I slept with. But I prefer you to remove all your male friends on Facebook because they'll fancy you, and that I can't forgive. And their selfishness. Their life becomes yours. And any arguments you have to hide because you're told it stays indoors. And don't speak to me like that in front of your family, but you allow your parents to talk about your ex-wife so candidly. And when they come to your shows, that you have to force them to in the end and sort out, they take a beeline for the person that you've told them speaks to you like nout. And you stop getting introduced, and the affection is just in the bedroom. And your hand in public doesn't get held, and you feel like they're digging your tomb. Because it's easier to stay in, not see friends hide away. Because they've sucked out your soul and you're too tired to say or do something wrong, because silence you will pay. Trust your gut always. It will never do you wrong. Because it won't be only you that it's happened to, and you'll find people singing your survivor song. It takes a brave person to walk away, to say no more. I love you, but that's enough. But when someone's begging you and crying, you've got to dig deep. You've got to be tough. And from that day, like Dr. Zeus said, you are you. That is truer than true. And there's no one alive that is youer than you.